So when I talk about OS maps today, I'm not necessarily talking about the larger Ordnance Survey or OS's paper mapping. I'm talking about the OS Maps application. So the mobile app, for those of you that haven't had an opportunity to use OS Maps yet, it's a mobile application that is Ordnance Survey's primary digital mapping solution. It's the biggest outdoor navigational app in the UK. We have millions of users across the country. And it provides digital mapping, primarily OS Premium Topo, along with our version of standard mapping, and navigational tools that allow you to plot your routes, create routes within our platform, as well as host millions of user-generated and partner routes for you to find routes around your area. So with OS Maps, we have a simple mission: get more people outside more often. It's very similar to the mission of a lot of organizations here today. And with that, we've got two primary objectives. The first is being the trusted experts for advanced explorers. So that's really what we've been up to this point. So OS Maps, being a digital navigational tool, really has spoken to those users that are very confident in the way that they get outside. They are happy to go outside knowing that they've got a digital mapping solution with them should they need it, but they want the challenge of navigating. They want the ability to use compass tools, they want to create a route and follow that route, but that really only speaks to a segment of the audience. If we want to get as many people outside as we can, we need to embrace a broader objective, which speaks to those that have different use cases for getting outside. They might not necessarily even want to use an app. They might want to use features that a map can enable, whether it's finding a route, plotting that route, or following a guided walk. So we want to be able to speak to those that are going for pub walks, for walks with their family on a Saturday afternoon, going for dog walks, etc. So to do that, we started to engage the audience, engage our community and the broader public around using qualitative data to see how they're getting outside in different ways. So obviously COVID sparked a slight change in how people approach the outdoors and really opened up people's minds to wanting to explore the area around them. The broader public are now far more engaged with wanting to take short walks, to be able to find walking routes around them that they otherwise never have been seeking. So with that, we've gone and done a large update to the OS Maps app. Sorry, jumped a slide here, Joe. With that, we need to do a large update to the OS Maps app and broaden our focus. So up until this point, we've very much been a map in an app. We need to stop focusing on being a mapping solution simply and broaden our solution offering to be an application that can enable outdoor experiences. As I've said, there's not just one way in which our communities and the public get outside, and if we simply focus on doubling down on technical mapping solutions or technical navigational solutions, so really we're going to slim down and narrow the audience that we speak to and who we can help experience great outdoor towns. So with that, the new OS Maps application. So for those of you that have had a chance to use OS Maps to this point, this will be quite a different experience than you would have seen or utilized before. As I said, we've primarily been a mapping solution to this point. We now want to become a true outdoor companion app to anyone that wants to get outside. We want to start to broaden our content offering. So to this point, we've really been route focused, but now this is going to give us the foundation to be able to branch into different types of content. That content might be guides to outdoor areas, to national parks, to cities, to towns, to historical landmarks with non-routes. That content might then bridge into outdoor tours. So it might be AR-based navigational tours of historical points of interest on walking routes. It really is a foundation now for us to try and engage with different elements or different segments within the outdoor audience. Along with that, we're really trying to improve our route curation and route search experience. A challenge that we've got within OS Maps is we've actually got too many routes. We've got millions of users across the UK, they're very engaged with our application and they create a lot of routes. We've got over 8 million routes in our route database. But quantity is sometimes not better than quality. So we have to make sure that we are working hard to curate all those routes within a given area and make them easily searchable and engageable for users. An example we often use is if you have to take Snowdon as an example, we've got a few thousand routes that have been created up Snowdon. We all know that there's other many paths up the mountain. So how do we curate and present those within the application in a way that's easy for our users to engage with and find and follow? And finally, we're going to really be trying to improve our activity tracking and route following features, that when you are on a walk, you can track yourself and get the information from taking that walk. So with this new foundational UX that we've got for the OS Maps application, we're now using product analytics to really try and understand what our users are doing within the app and how we can use that data to better the experience. So we're using user-generated content to build derived data sets. So when I say user-generated content, I'm referring to the different items that the users can create within the app. So we've got pins, you can drop pins on the map, save them. You've got photos, so users have the ability to add photos to routes that they've created, or add photos to reviews of routes that they've created. They can leave reviews on the routes themselves, talking about their experience, rating the quality of the route. And we've also got the route data itself. So that's the foundational route geography, if someone's plotted a route and what they've done there. So we want to take that information, these thousands and millions of UGC data points that we've got, aggregate them, curate them, and build derived data sets from them. So the first example of that is creating POIs. So points of interest on the map. There's multiple data sets that exist that we could ingest around POIs. But we want to learn from what our users are doing. So they might be making multiple pins in a specific area, something that's not currently mapped. We can use that information to go, what's going on there? Why do we have 1,000 pins at this point? We can then look at the photos that are being attached to those points to understand, oh, this is a marked location that users are actually veering off routes to go and see. There might be a waterfall that's unmapped, whatever it may be. It allows us to start using UGC content to create our own derived data sets that enhance the user experience. Beyond that, and it touches on a theme that's been mentioned a lot today across different talks, is understanding the live status or nature of routes across different times of the year, different lifespans of the route itself, as at times it might be overused or it might be going through renovations, etc. So we're using, at the moment this is actually happening, we don't have the ability to do this at the moment, in the app at the moment, it's almost happening organically by users. But users are using the review functionality to provide status updates on routes. So someone might have followed a route or path on our app and they've gone and left a review. Instead of saying, brilliant route, had a really great day out following this, they've said, there's a tree obstructing the route on this turn. So we're really getting this live route status data within the app. The goal now that we're doing, we've got a project that we're undertaking at the moment, is building the functionality for users to actually feed that information into us on a live basis. So the amazing opportunity that we've got is, as I said, we've got millions of users across the UK using us on a weekly, monthly basis. That's millions of potential data points that we can get at any given time to feed us live information about routes. So if we can prompt users and encourage users to, once they've completed a route on the app, to actually not just review it, but provide active status information about that route, we can then aggregate that data to actually give status segments, or give segments on the route statuses to say, well, this segment is unavoidable, and suggest alternative routes. It might take them an extra kilometre around, but at least it's going to ensure that they're not having to avoid obstacles with their planned route on that day. It will also allow us over time to build a seasonal view of routes. Routes change over different times of the year. A specific route might not be accessible in winter, so it's important that the routes in the app reflect that. So we're working really hard on trying to build that view across the OS Maps app and be able to just provide that really accurate and reliable route view for our users. In addition to that, as I've mentioned, we've got millions of routes within the OS Map space. The big challenge that we've got there is, as I've touched on slightly before, is the quantity versus quality issue. So we work actively on trying to manage our route database, and with that quality versus quantity referencing, we're able to then start to try and build a single authoritative view of a route. So again, just using that Snowdon example, if you've got thousands of routes up a mountain and you want to try and condense them down into 5 or 6, you need to then understand which routes are relevant to each other, because they'll all vary slightly, they'll all have different levels of metadata on those routes. And we want to be able to build a single authoritative view to say this is the right information for these specific routes. And there's a lot of work that goes on in the back end within our database, and we can see how we can use AI to try and really enhance our ability to do that, because at the moment there's a very big mix of manual versus automated solutions going into trying to consolidate and condense those root databases. But it's a big opportunity for us there simply because of the volume of data and information that we're able to utilize. The next piece that we're touching on is heat mapping of routes. So again, this is something I've heard referenced here before, it's understanding where people are walking that veers off differently from, say, already mapped paths or routes, and using heat mapping to understand where are users actually walking on routes versus what is the officially plotted path for that route. It then allows us to understand, well, if there's overused sections of specific routes, we could, through intelligent route plotting, so we've got a tool within the app which is called curate routes, but it's got a snap to path feature, which if you drop 2 points, it will automatically snap to a path. If we can understand and ingest information that allows us to know that a route is slightly overused or is underware within a specific section, snap to path can incorporate that and suggest alternative paths for you to take to avoid an overused path, a section of the path, which allows users to make informed decisions and actually actively help us preserve different routes and paths. And finally, I guess I've touched on that already, is how we're using the derived data sets just to guide people across optimal paths. And I unfortunately didn't put my contact information on here, but myself, as well as my colleague Lee, are here from OS, and would love to engage with anyone who's interested in helping host their own data within the OS Maps app. We don't just work around UGC data, we do work on a big network of partners to host partner routes on the OS Maps app. So we'd love to work with you to potentially build third-party route collections within our application. Thank you.